I'd like to be respectful of everybody's time. It is 5 o'clock, and we had scheduled this to begin at 5 p.m. I appreciate people being here tonight. We are holding this as a public hearing on the calendar, and a couple of things that I would like to request of everyone. Number one, I would like us to be respectful of one another. That's important to me, that we all try our best to do that, and I trust that everyone here will. We also would like this to last about an hour. If we go a little over that, that's fine, but we'd kind of like to have it be about an hour long. I think that all of us can express our opinions on whichever side of the issue that we may be on, and we can do that in an hour's time. I'd also ask that if the point that you're here to support has been made, that we don't have people coming up speaking over and over saying the same thing. So that will, certainly save some time, but I encourage you all to come up. My name's Kent Alberty. I'm president of the school board, and as I said, appreciate everybody being here, and I would also like it if you come up to speak, would you give us your name? And we are recording this so that if there are questions that are asked tonight that we can't give you an answer to, that we'll have those on the record so that we can give you an appropriate response to any question that we might not be able to answer tonight. So we'll open up the discussion, and as we know, there's an election coming up on April 14th, and one of the items on that is the school calendar, and we'll open it up. Whoever would like to start, the mic is yours. Christine?
Jump up?
Sure.
I'm not shy. My name's Christine Eriksson, a former state legislator here on the west side of Sioux Falls and a current city councilor. Today I'm here as a parent. I have 3 small children, 2 in the Sioux Falls School District, obviously, and 1 in preschool, and have many family members here in Sioux Falls that attend the high schools and have gone through the middle schools, as well as being involved in administration over the years. I don't want to get into the weeds, but I want to just focus on the sample ballot that was posted to the website within the last week. I want to say this is what you are voting on and what the ballot says when you go to the polls on April 14th. It says a yes vote will uphold the board's decision to schedule the next 3 school years opening days on August 17th, 2015, August 22nd, 2016, and August 21st, 2017. A no vote would reject the school's decision to schedule the next 3 years opening days on August 17th, August 22nd, 2016, August 21st, 2017, and would require the school board to set an opening day after Labor Day for each of the following years for 2015, 2016, and 2017 school years. That is the vote. That is what your ballot will look like when you go vote on April 14th. And I encourage, wherever you fall on the issue, please vote. It's important to exercise your right to vote. As a state legislator, I worked on this issue very tirelessly by a group of parents that came to me that felt lost. The issue died, it was gone, and so then in the end, they decided to refer this. The decision was made to refer it by this group of parents because maybe they weren't feeling heard, they wanted a compromise, they wanted a discussion, and that didn't take place. When I testified that day, I asked to delay the vote. I asked, let's study it. Let's see. Maybe it is Labor Day. Maybe it is not. I don't know, but if we don't ask the parents, we don't know. And that was my take on it. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. I understand. I'm in a role that I have to make some hard decisions myself. So I get it. The group went on to refer the petition, to do the petition. Those people signed the petition. And the reason why the date, this group of parents did not select that date, it simply goes back to what state law says. So state law says it has to go back to after Labor Day. It's just the way the law is written. So just to give some history of why things are the way they are, I just want to be clear about that as well. I obviously support the no vote and feel it's important for the sake of just quality of life for my family. This is about the district as a whole, not any one particular activity or group of students. It's for the district as a whole, and that needs to be viewed on as well as we move forward. I will be here longer and be happy to answer any questions if anybody has anything. I am grateful to be selected to sit on the calendar review process. We have not met and we have not discussed any alternative calendars at this point. That meeting is held March 10th, next Tuesday. So when we discuss compromise, it hasn't happened yet. And I understand that conversation's taking place, but nothing's been set in stone at this time. There are calendars. I've done my fair share of research as well as all the school board members have and everybody here has. But there are alternative calendars that some of our neighboring communities have done that would work. The research is out there, and I'll let a few other people speak to that as far as maybe some of the implications and concerns some people have. So thank you for your time.
Hi, my name is Kyle Seamers, and I am a junior at Roosevelt High School, and I'm involved in a lot of things at Roosevelt, like orchestra and band and stuff like that. But one of my favorite things is being president of student council, and that gives me the responsibility to be the voice for the students at Roosevelt. And regarding the school start date change, it's become more and more apparent that it mostly affects our high schoolers in more ways than one. And unfortunately, the people that it affects most don't have a voice in this. The seniors that can vote for this change won't be affected by the change in the start date next year. So our student council created a survey to send out to all the students at Roosevelt, in which we got back with a great response. There was over 650 responses within 3 days. With server problems and internet problems, we still got over 650 results. And this survey that we sent out was taken by students from all over. It wasn't just the football players, it wasn't just the choir kids. We had students from band and orchestra and tennis and golf and everywhere. All students were speaking out about their opinions about this change. And this survey it started asking students their opinion on where they stood on the start date change, as if they wanted to keep it the same or not. And even at the beginning of the survey, almost 75% of the students wanted no change in the start date, so starting in mid-August. It followed up by a poll of extracurricular activities that students were involved in, as well as academic activities like AP classes. And then it presented all the different all the effects that this change would have on activities, academic classes, and stuff like that. And in all cases, before and after, the students wanted absolutely no change. The percentage of students that wanted to keep the start date change as it is increased by almost 10%. So on the surface, moving the calendar date later seems like a great idea for families, because who doesn't love a long summer and a better, warmer summer, because I know I do. But this presents a unique set of challenges for high school students and that parents of middle school and elementary school students might not be so exposed to. So I know that I speak for the students of Roosevelt when I ask that the voters of Sioux Falls to consider the different perspectives that high school students have regarding this change for high school students now and high school students in the future. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kelsey Sprout. I'm a junior in high school at Lincoln. I'm currently taking 3 AP classes with the plans of taking 4 next year, and many of my friends and peers are taking just as many, if not more, than me. So with the proposed Labor Day start date, my peers and I would be missing out on 3 weeks of education preparations for valuable tests, national given tests whose dates will not and cannot be changed. With 47 out of the 50 states having an August start date, the test dates will remain in May, and College Board won't care that South Dakota is missing out on 3 weeks of preparation that 46 other states have. Of the 3 states that do have the Labor Day start date, Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin, many many of those states are starting to push back now. Specifically in Iowa, they have what's called an exception clause for people who are in certain activities or academic activities such as AP classes can start early and get that preparation that is needed for these tests. And then this preparation is critical. Specifically, they did a study in Wisconsin on the change in start dates between August and September and found that the extra time to prepare actually did boost exam scores, specifically in math. But not only would the proposed date change take away that 3 weeks of preparation that we otherwise would have at the beginning of the start date, but then my peers and I would be sitting in a classroom at the end of the year for 3 weeks doing nothing, serving no educational purpose whatsoever because we've already taken the test. So I know a lot of the advocates of the post-Labor Day start date have a lot to say about summer and vacation and tourism, which I completely understand, but I would just ask you all to remember that as far as quality of life goes, education is one of the top standards for quality of life, and just give our students the best possible chance to score high, not only on those tests, but on semester tests and other extracurricular and academic opportunities that they're involved in.
Hello, my name is Elliot Down. I'm a senior at Roosevelt, and I am a musician. I am in probably 5 band groups and a couple choir groups, and I even help out with orchestra all the time. I've been with drama club, all these different things. I'm involved with the National Honor Society. I have ties with student council, and I have tons of friends who do all sorts of other activities, not even getting into athletics. How many people are in those? There are hundreds, thousands of students in these activities across the Sioux Falls board, and many of these activities in the fall would be pushed, would not be able to start at a different time. When you have a competition at a set day, you need an ample time to prepare for that day. So while some students are getting a summer moved to a different date, these fall activities would be starting at the same day. So if they start here and the summer start goes to here, you have a shorter summer for them, and it would end up being almost a month of summer for a lot of these activities like marching band, even show choirs, numerous athletics and such groups. Very similar to the AP class situation, that moving the start date would affect these groups and just cut your summer. So if the goal of changing the date is to give a better summer to students, it's not going to help that for so many high school students out there, plain and simple. So please consider the students involved in fall activities who would end up getting a cut summer with any of these proposed changes. Thank you.
I want to address that, and I don't mean to do it now. It's going to look like I'm addressing you specifically. But the reality is the South Dakota Athletic Association sets the schedule. Nothing anybody can do about it. My kids are involved in sports. My kids are involved in extracurricular activities that already start well before the school day starts. Their summer is already cut short because of these schedules. So to say that that would happen now, it's already happening. So if school starts on the 17th this year, my kids are going back to football and different practices by the 1st of August. So they're already cut short. In regard to the AP classes, I challenge you all to go look at Virginia, Maryland, and New York's test scores, and then look when they start school. South Dakota is a very fortunate state. We have spectacular kids in this city. We have very bright kids in this city. I am not worried about these AP kids at all. They're going to get it. They're going to learn it. I've talked to AP teachers who said they will learn how to make it up. They'll teach these kids, and these are the kids that know how to learn it. They'll do it. I'm not worried about it.
Not to mention the fact, if you look at the percentage of AP students as a whole for the students from kindergarten to senior, it's somewhat of a smaller percentage than the rest of the students. I am not demeaning them at all because I think they are wonderful kids, but they have the capabilities of learning this. The thing I really want to hit on, though, is the truth of what's happening here. The school board, we started this process about 5 or 6 years ago. We had enough rumblings going on in this city that the school board decided to compromise with us, and they pushed the calendar back. They did it for a year, and then slowly but surely it went back to the way it is today, where we're starting school far too early in August. Now, let's fast forward to what's happening here. 6,000 citizens gained access to the right to get a petition drawn up and to get 6,000 signatures to say, you know what, we want to be heard and we want this on the ballot. 9 months later, the school board starts talking about a compromise. 9 months after we had to get this petition drawn up and get 6,000 people around the city to sign it, 9 months later they decide to say, hey, let's compromise. They cannot compromise right now, you guys. This is going to a vote. It is. Nothing they can do will stop that. It's a constitutional right. They do not have the force, they do not have the legalities to stop this from going to a vote. So what are they trying to do? Make it look like you shouldn't go to the polls? Well, then if you don't go to the polls, then we got 2 school board members who are going to just get reelected. There's somebody else running. What are they trying to do? Make you not go to the polls? This compromise that they're talking about, we would have loved to have heard this a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago when we did this. We would have. But it's now. By the way, you heard Christine say they haven't even met on the calendar. And if they do meet, it's going to take a while to figure it out. And then it'll have to go to a committee that'll have to do this, that'll have to go to that. And there is not one promise that they would follow through with what they're saying. There's not one promise. It's not a law. By the way, in June, when the new superintendent comes in, she could say, or he could say, this isn't what we're going to do. We're going to redo the calendar again. Our superintendent herself said there's always tweaking that goes on in the calendar. We do it up until the end. So what if they try to trick everybody to not go to the polls and vote no, and then all of a sudden it changes after the vote? There is no promises. The vote is the only way to get this done. Now, for you AP students, we would have loved to have had this compromise done. We would have loved to have had it for everybody, but it didn't happen. That's the reality. And now after we get all this done and we're going to the poll April 14th, they decided they want to start this discussion. It's not a guarantee, you guys, and you have to remember that. So when you're talking to your friends and you're talking to the people about this, remember that there is not a guarantee that they would follow through with this. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I don't think I caught your name. I'm sorry. Rhonda Laughlin. Okay, thank you. And I'm just going to reiterate that I would appreciate it if the comments were all respectful. No accusatory language. I would appreciate that. I'm not here to trick anybody. I'm not here to tell anybody don't go to the polls. I am encouraging everybody to vote on April 14th. I believe that's how I started my comments. And I fully realize that the ballot initiative, the referred measure, is to be on the April 14th ballot. You have a choice to make to vote either yes or no. We are not suggesting, nor have we suggested, that people don't go to the polls. We all have a right to our vote. We all have a right to be treated respectfully and to give respectful remarks. So I would encourage people to please come forward and continue to speak. Thank you.
Can I just add something too? I'm Carly Ryder, and I'm also a member of the school board. And the reason we aren't meeting until next week is so that we can meet after this meeting took place to collect feedback. I'm also on the calendar committee, and the goal, we were going to actually meet before then, and we decided to wait until after the public and the phone calls that we've already received, so that when we do make our proposal for calendars, which we hope to have done at the end of the meeting next week, that we would be able to take in as much feedback from people from a variety of sources as we possibly could. So I just wanted to explain why that we have not met yet.
And just one other piece of information that I'd like to share. When we had first reading on the policy change at our meeting in February, we had talked about having the second reading coming up in March. As president of the school board, I do have the authority to decide when we have that second reading, and I am going to ask that that second reading not happen until after the election. So that would be on, I believe, the April 23rd board meeting. I believe that date is correct, so that we don't confuse anybody with a decision that might be made. We will be waiting until after the April 14th election to have the second reading, so that we don't have conversation if the vote goes no and we have the after Labor Day start. There really isn't any reason for us to have further discussion at the board table. So we are going to wait and do that second reading. I believe it's April 27th. Thank you. So please come forward, sir.
My name is Aaron Musser. I'm a senior at Roosevelt. I wasn't really expecting to speak tonight, but I just have a couple points that I'd like to make clear. I think that I speak for a large percentage of the high school student body, not just AP students. I'm currently in 2 AP classes, but not just for AP students, for pretty much all high school students, that we like to have little breaks in the school year. So this compromise that's being talked about, I don't even know if it's clarified yet or not, but the compromise of setting the school start date back a couple weeks, but keeping the graduation date the same, isn't really desired by any of us, because we like to have longer Christmas breaks and just time to unwind, because I know that for me and for a lot of other students, we are very stressed a lot about our futures and our college choices, and also just about homework. So we like to have our time to sort of unwind. Also, in regards to activities, there are a lot of students that start in the middle of the summer and have a shortened summer because of that. For example, marching band, I'm in marching band, and we start halfway through July. And it's difficult because we start in July. If graduation is moved back to June, then we only have about a month of summer, and then we go back into marching band. And then when the time football comes around, there's not as much student awareness for the games, so there's not as much student support, which is sort of where the marching band and the football team and everything gets its gusto, I don't know. But that's sort of where that's where the high school experience comes from. And I understand that a lot of middle school and elementary school parents really would like to have more time with their children in the hot summer months. But we live in South Dakota, and hot summer months are sort of unexpected. And we never really know when they're going to end and when they're really going to come. So I feel like just taking advantage of every second from the day maybe school gets out halfway through May, or whether school gets out in the beginning of June, making use of that time. It doesn't necessarily have to be in August that you make use of that time. And then also for AP students, I really liked what I don't remember your name, I'm sorry. I really like what Kelsey mentioned about if this change does occur, if we could get extra time at the beginning of the school year just to sort of get a head start on AP classes, just so that we know and we have extra time to prepare, because although some schools might start after Labor Day but then also get higher test scores, that shortened amount of time, in my opinion, and probably in a lot of other AP scholars' opinions, is only going to be detrimental and not really going to help. The help is the extra time that we have to prepare. And those are the points that I would have liked to make today. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Helene Bowery, and I'm a freshman at Roosevelt High School. I'm involved in DECA, Student Council, Salsa, Spanish Club, and many other clubs.
And my name is Murphy Coble. I'm also a freshman at Roosevelt High School, and I'm involved in salsa, show choir, and Renaissance.
We would just like to say that we disagree with the suggested calendar change. It is an idea that would be detrimental to our education, or to education, but not to high school students especially. Many problems would be produced by this.
For instance, having semester tests after our winter break, our semester tests are worth 15% of our final grade, and they're already really stressful as it is. So it's important to have the time to take your semester test before you go on break so you can have that time to relax and recharge.
And I know, you guys are talking about AP classes, and I'm taking an AP class now, and Murphy's planning on taking them. But also high school students have to take semester tests. And if we change the start of school, our semester test would be after break, which means we would spend break studying and stressing out instead of getting ready to start the new semester. A lot of people would feel burned out, and our test scores would drop drastically.
This change affects not only students but families, because winter break is usually for family time and many people can go on vacation, but you wouldn't have very much fun at Disney World having to worry about reviewing for your semester test and making sure that you have all your formulas memorized.
We strongly urge you to see beyond just a few months and think about what would happen once your children get into high school. Obviously, you want them to do their best and challenge themselves to succeed. The chance of them taking a lot of advanced or AP classes and doing well in those classes will plummet if we change the date.
I also have researched the temperatures of our normal or regular summers for the past 6 years and compared those temperatures to a post-Labor Day schedule summer. And the difference between the average temperatures for those dates were lower than you might think. The highest difference between the average temperatures was only 3 degrees, and the average difference between temperatures was only 2 degrees. So I mention this to show that although one may think warmer temperatures would arise in September, there isn't a huge difference between August and September temperatures. So please consider this when you're voting. The warmer summer you may think you're voting for isn't a whole lot warmer than what we already have.
Hi, I'm Kevin from Roosevelt High School. I'm currently a senior. I'm part of orchestra and, well, let's just say I'm part of senior class. So, the one point I like to make is that the comparison of state education system of South Dakota to other states' education system is kind of unfair. First, I believe our education funding differs severely from the other states, with the teachers' pay being one of the lowest in the state, with our ACT score average being 21 average. And I think it's really unfair to compare those AP students and the teachers from the teachers and AP courses of South Dakota. That's one of the first point I like to make here right now. The second point is that the course distribution, the AP course, the preparation is extremely critical for several classes like AP Physics, AP Calc, and AP Stats. Those mathematical courses are required to have that refresher, and without that 3 weeks, it's next to impossible to actually get that type of preparation for the AP test. Other things such as the regular courses, the semester tests, like other students have rephrased and talked countless time, those 3 weeks is just, let's just say, like a time to meditate and actually get ready for those tests. Take those 3 weeks away, I think that's going to be proven detrimental to our academic performance and the future of South Dakota's education. And that's the other point that I like to make is she spoke about how those elementary school, middle schooler is the vast majority compared to the AP students and the high schoolers. But think about it. You're changing the date of and it's going to impact those high school dates. You're actually going to impact those students that's going to be a high schooler. This is not just about us that's currently going to the school right now. It's about the future of South Dakota. And I think that is extremely important to think about when you're voting yes or no for this vote. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Joey Jensen. I'm a junior at Roosevelt High School, and I'm going to make some comments about fall activities, specifically sports. Right now, there are about 1,800 kids involved in high school sports, fall sports, and every single one of those start in August, and even band, they start in June. And all these are, like, this is just the first practice dates for it. We start before that even, like, our high school season of soccer, we have, like, season practices, senior-led practices, and workout dates and all that stuff. We'd be starting, like, a month after we get off school. So our break, it's not really break. We have, every morning we're up and doing conditioning practices and just working on our foot skills. And that's just, anyway, half of our soccer games will be played during the summer. And soccer was just sanctioned last year. And that just, it brought the school together because now we're getting so many students coming to support our varsity team. And with half of our games being played during the summer, I think that whole student body is not going to know when those games are. So then we're not going to have any support. And 2 of the football games, they're going to be played during the summer. And football games are huge. Like, there's hundreds of kids that go. So I'd just like to just heed my words. A lot of these students are going to be very disappointed. We really need this extra time. Thank you.
You can go ahead. I'm going to reserve my opinion. I wasn't actually going to speak. I was going to listen, but I wanted to say something. My name is Tamika Carew. I do have kids that are in the school system. First of all, my appreciation for the parents, like myself and everybody else, to get involved and to care. Not only do you have the right to referendum, but the fact that you did something, wonderful. My appreciation for the school board, thankless task, I think. You guys work very hard, and I think that a lot of us don't have any idea just what goes through not only your minds, but the fact that you're trying to be in a level of parity for everybody. It's got to be very difficult, so my hat's off to you. I got up here because the students up here, I'm so impressed and I'm touched by it. You know, you guys are taking a stand, you're saying something, you're participating. How cool is that? It doesn't matter how this goes. You guys rock. Thank you. This is what this city, this nation, is all about. You get to do something. You get to take part. You get to try. And if it's after Labor Day, if it's before Labor Day, if it's June, whatever it is, you got to roll with it. None of you are going to fail. You guys are great at what you do, whether it's football or AP classes, whatever it is, just keep doing it. Yes, you might say, this didn't go my way. You might say, fantastic, it went our way. It won't make a difference. Because up here, you guys can do it. And I'm watching this, and I am really touched. I am actually moved by this. You guys are amazing, and this is what this is about. Regardless of what happens, we all care. I want to spend more time with my kids in the summer, absolutely. I'm very blessed. I've got smart kids. I've got kindergartners on up, and you know, we try to fulfill the best we can as parents. But to see this, so proud of you guys. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Wendy McDonald, and I'm actually the chair of our little group Voice and Local Control. Let me tell you, when this process started about 5 years ago, this is what we wanted to happen. We wanted a dialogue. We wanted a conversation. And we never really received that, even after giving them 3,000 letters of parents that just wanted a compromise. That's all it was. And there was a couple people on the school board that are still on the school board that will remember that, and our administrator will remember that. And it's been a really trying experience for so many of us parents because all we wanted was a voice. So let me tell you something. On April 14th, we get to have that. And that's all we ever wanted, was a voice. We wanted to be heard, we wanted to speak for our kids, and we wanted to speak for our families. That's it. You kids are awesome. I've loved listening to all of you speak. You're going to be fabulous. I have no doubt in that. I am really blessed that my kids, I think, are fabulous also. And the most important person in their life is my husband and myself. And we get to make decisions for them. And we chose to make this decision because we were forced to make this decision. We asked for this compromise for 5 years, and that's all we ever wanted. So on April 14th, I just encourage everybody to get to the polls, have a voice. However it goes is however it goes, and everybody will adjust. But get to the polls and have a voice.
You stole my thunder. I was going to say exactly the same thing you said, so congratulations. The only one thing I'd like to add on this, besides the students, my name is Mike, by the way. Sorry about that. That's my beautiful bride. Is first off, you students are amazing. Keep it up. You will do well. And I understand you guys this was forced, but what I hate to see is that somebody's going to lose and somebody's going to win. I would love to find a way for all of us to come together, to find a compromise or find a solution where we have a win-win situation. Let the athletes, let the students, let the AP students find a way to go to class first if that has to be. Iowa has done it. We have a president. We can make this happen. If we all get together and put our heads together, we can come up with a solution instead of having one, it's either win or lose. I know it's been hard, but I would love to see us get together and do that, so thank you.
Hi, my name is Helene Bowery, and I'm a junior at Roosevelt High School.
And I'm Murphy again.
Just to add on to what Kelsey said about the AP classes, during our survey that we just recently took, 67% of our students said they either are in or are planning to take an AP class at Roosevelt, which means AP classes are obviously really important to us, so the more time for us, the better. On another note, emotionally, having our semester tests right before Christmas break is just such a relief. You can get out of school, breathe, and enjoy your 2 weeks. Then on another note, besides that, we have to talk about the pools.
We just want to mention that most of the people employed at the public pools are college students, and college students go back to school on August 24th. So if you plan on spending any time at the pool during your extra weeks before Labor Day, we just want you to know that since a lot of the college students are going to go back to school on August 24th, there aren't going to be as many people to keep the pools open. And so a lot of the pools will have to close. And even if some are kept open with high school students, I'm guessing that a few are going to be left open, but that means that a lot, like all of the Sioux Falls School District kids are going to have to go to 3 pools or 4 pools or whatever they choose to do. And during the summer is not your only time to go to the pool, because we voted, I think it was last year, to build an indoor pool so we don't have to worry anymore. We can go swimming any day of the year whenever we want, so you don't just have to worry about going to the pool with your family in the summer months. Thank
Please
you.
keep these few points in mind. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Adam Morrison. I teach at Lincoln High, and I assist in preparing the AP tests at the end of the year as well. I believe that the schedule works academically for us. Our students are able to have 180 days of instruction at the beginning of the school year, all the way to the very end of AP tests. Our students are able to use all of that time to prepare for those very difficult tests that are given nationally. It's shown that it's working because South Dakota ranks at the top of the region in AP test pass rates. We are 8th in the nation. And if we were to isolate just Sioux Falls, which of course what we're talking about, the schedule we're talking about, Sioux Falls' pass rate would be 4th in the nation. We have a very large group of students who take tests here in Sioux Falls. We give about half of the tests given in South Dakota to public school students. At Lincoln High School, this year we'll have about 500 students taking about 1,000 tests. When this graduating class leaves and next year's graduating class leaves, half of them, roughly half of them, will have taken an AP test. This schedule impacts lots of students. When they leave, most of them are going to our state schools. They are taking with them AP credit that will give them, that will save them books and tuition, room and board. This schedule works for us as it is. The loss of 10 instructional days, 10 days away from their teachers, which change what they know and certainly change how they perform, would certainly have a negative impact, I believe. Thank you.
My name is Mary Coyne, and I'm the AP Calculus teacher at Lincoln High School. And I would just like to say to the voters, please listen to the children. They know what they are talking about. There was a day in which we did start after Labor Day back in the early 90s. I was teaching, and the children are right. This is a better academic schedule for them. So I'd encourage voters to listen to the children.
My name is Fran Phillips. I represent Wildwater West, and bringing up the public pools, pools close, of course, because school starts and you don't have enough staff to run the park. We have, a viable economic interest, of course, in extending the summer. As has been stated many times, a compromise of any kind over the years would have really benefited everyone. And now, of course, there's a line drawn in the sand, and there's a big group for one and a big group for other. But just remember, there is an economic factor at play. We employ roughly 250 high school and college kids each summer, and this city is a viable tourist location. When schools start, right, the public pools close. We have to modify our hours and close, and a lot of your seasonal businesses have to either restrict their hours or close altogether. So it is an economic issue. I have received many phone calls from parents whose students work for me, and these kids do need a job. In 3 weeks, at 40 hours, 50 hours a week, is a big deal. A lot of these kids, are moving on to college, have to pay for things, have to pay for gas, have to pay for their car. So far, the economic issue hasn't really been brought up. But when you look at the number of students that have to work each summer to support themselves and also to move on to the next level, it is something to think about, and it is something to reckon with, because it's true. And I get many phone calls. I wish, I got some calls from lifeguards and whatnot that say they wish they were old enough to vote so they could be heard. So maybe this is a small way that I can share their voice with you.
I'd like to provide one small rebuttal to that statement. I believe that education truly is the best way to prepare the next generation, blah, 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 blah. And I really think that by investing in education now, it will pay out economically in the future, and I don't really see how promoting small businesses just to get more, they're doing fine now, and giving them a little bit more money isn't, I mean, investing in our education is more important, in my opinion, and in many opinions of high school students. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Dina Barsen. Full disclosure, I used to be a school board member, but I also used to be a parent of high schoolers, and I used to be a teacher. So the used to be's cover a wide range tonight. And I want to repeat what people have said. For decades, I have watched people sit at this table, and I have watched teachers in the classroom work very hard, hoping that someday they'd have students like you. And they do. So to all your parents who pray for the same things, thank you. Thank you for making that dream come true. What I wanted to say is tonight, what I hope we all do is take the emotion and the hurt and set it aside. Because what I hear right now is a group of people who didn't have a voice and who really want a voice. And that's a hard position to be in. And this vote gives them a voice. So I think we need to take it seriously, and I think we need to think about the implications. But what we need to think about most is, what is the school board charged to do? And that is to provide a world-class education for the students we are in charge of. And right now, what I hear tonight, and I must admit, I didn't know which way I wanted to vote on the calendar issue. I've sort of stayed out of that arena, but hearing high school students say, please don't do this, has swayed me. I don't know what it's done to you, but I hope it drives you to the polls in whatever way you choose to. What we need to remember is that we spend 13 years with our children in school, but the years we try to prepare them most for are those last 4 years when we really hone them and then kick them out of the nest and hope that they get to where they need to be so they can take care of us in our older age. Thank you for making, yes, some of us claim our age. Thank you for really making me proud and really making me hopeful, because next year, my most valuable treasure will be a kindergartner. And if he does half as well as all of you, I'm going to be a very happy grandmother.
Okay. Hi, my name is Dom. I go to Roosevelt High School. I'm involved in show choir, and you know, you haven't heard anyone talk about arts. You've heard them talk about sports, you've heard them talk about the economy, and you've heard them talk about AP testing. But the arts as well are also very important. Most of the people that I know that are in AP classes are also involved in art. Wow, weird, you know, correlation. But the thing is, even just with arts, I am in concert choir, and if this school date gets pushed forward, we will have 4 weeks to prepare for our concert, opposed to the usual 9. And that goes for mixed chorus, which is another one of our choirs, in our freshman chorus. And even with band and orchestra, they'll have less time to prepare for their concerts as well. So really, it's not a really good idea. But that's really all I had to say. Thank you.
I'm Bonnie Malbreck, a special ed teacher at Roosevelt, and I am here speaking as an individual, not on behalf of the teachers. But I just want to, and I hadn't planned on talking, I did want to say, though, that I am a taxpayer, I am a community member, and I'm a long-time teacher. Dina, I claim my age also. I think I'm finishing my 42nd or 43rd year, so I mean long time. And I can still stand up straight. And I am very proud of our kids. So you see why I've been at this a long time, what you've heard tonight. I would like to say, I didn't totally, I kind of sort of knew how I would vote, but I've had to think and I've had to listen in the last month. And, it's obvious. I'm going to vote on education and the best education for our kids. And if it isn't that important to start a school for a kindergartner, I'm not going to do anything that's going to hurt any other group of kids. Education has to be number one for all the kids. Everybody's going to be in high school at some time, all of these kids. And I certainly am not going to vote to have any calendar issue affect a large group of students. And I believe it would affect our high school students. I also wanted to say one other thing, just in defense, and I'm the first person that if I have a bone to pick with my bosses or the school board, I'm going to go to them and pick it. But I do have to tell you, nobody has ever told us not to vote, nor have they ever told anybody in this wonderful town or school district not to vote. And I just felt that I had to say that. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chris Laerdal. I'm a 17-year-old student. I would just like to take a quick poll here, if you don't mind actively participating. Raise your hand if you cannot vote in this upcoming election. Okay, that's a pretty good number of this room. And raise your hand if you understand the effects that this referendum, if it is voted no and the majority wins, that you would be directly affected by this. So the people that are getting affected, this is their only time that they have to make their voice heard. We can't vote. And on a personal note, I'm 17, so I can't vote, but also I open enroll to Roosevelt. I'm part of the Hartford School District. I couldn't vote even if I was 18.
Everybody's going to be affected by this vote. It's not just the kids, and it's not just the high schoolers. Every parent is going to be affected by it. Every citizen of this city is going to be affected by it. You kids who can't vote, your parents can, and that's the awesome part about it. And so however they vote, they're going to vote in what they think is in the best interest of you kids. In regard to, the last 4 years being the most important, I think you addressed that. I disagree. I think the minute I conceive that child, it's important. I believe that my time with my kids, no offense, teachers, I love you, but is far more important than being with teachers. I am raising my kids morally and ethically the way I want them to be. That's with me. Now, God willing, they behave the way they should in school, and they have the right teachers put in their path to continue and assist me in this walk with them. But we're the most important ones in our kids' lives. And my choice to want to have more time or quality time, it's not more time. Let's be realistic. It's the same amount of instructional days you kids will get. You're not getting gypped. It's the same amount of instructional days that you're going to have if there's a calendar shift. But my time with my kids is more valuable than anything they're going to learn in this classroom. If you disagree, please indicate why.
This isn't. This is
No,
not a debate.
okay,
This is not a
okay,
debate.
okay.
This is a hearing, and you're going to get your time.
Okay, so I'll let me have it.
Please have the time. This
So
isn't going to
here's my
engage the
question.
audience. You go ahead, Rhonda.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
here's my question, or not question. My statement is this. Obviously, you all know there's a lot of animosity between me and the school board members, obviously. And, part of it is because I do want to be heard. And we haven't been able to be given that chance. I'm loving the fact that you kids are getting to be heard. I've got 5 kids at home that want to be heard every single day. And I think this is wonderful. But I need you guys to understand that part of what we're doing is not, none of what we're doing is to hurt you kids. None of it. That is not our intention. Our intention is to be able to parent the way we want to parent. and for the school board who we elected to listen to us. That's why we're doing it. Now, the voters are going to do what they want to do on April 14th, and that's fantastic. That's what America is built on. That's why we're here. But none of this at all was done to hurt you kids. I've got kids in AP classes, for goodness sakes. I'm not going to do something that I think is against their best interest. But I don't want to have people come away looking at this like the group that is kind of pushing for this is not taking into account what your guys' feelings are or what the AP classes are. It's a whole bunch. It's from kindergarten to seniors. So it's not just you AP students, unfortunately, that are affected by this. It's everybody. And that was the most important thing that I wanted you guys to know.
We'll have one more comment, and then we'll two more comments, and then we're going to close the hearing. Thank you. Go ahead, ladies.
Hi, I'm Mary Martina Smith. I'm a freshman at Roosevelt.
Hi, I'm Valeska Motik, and I'm a freshman at Roosevelt.
And we would just like to talk about what happens over these breaks and what we're missing out on study time and the resources that we're missing to be able to prepare for these tests. For some students, they have no resources to study over that break. Sure, most have internet and stuff, but especially when they take these classes, they're preparing themselves. They are taking this to prepare for their future. That's why they go. When they don't have the time or the resources to do this, they're gonna be affected by that. It's gonna negatively affect them.
I would also like to point out that high schoolers are the closest to the future, or the closest future that our state has right now. We are taking these classes to benefit our futures. We are taking these classes to benefit our economy, and we want to set examples for middle schoolers and elementary kids even at most. I have a brother, and he's in elementary school right now, and I want to set an example saying that I want to take a stand for my education, and I want to do what's best for high school kids right now.
And, of course, bringing up AP students again, we have to pay for these tests. I already have to study enough. I may take 10 pages of notes a day just so I can pass these tests. When I have to pay for this, that is something that I'm doing for myself to prepare for my future so that I can support a family. And just listening to your students, it seems like the majority, that they really need this time to be able to talk to their teachers one-on-one, to be able to ask for help. Over these breaks before the semester tests, they can't ask for help. They can't just go to the school and go look for their teacher.
All we are doing is just asking for the extra time to have time to prepare for our upcoming futures and what we're going to have to do for everything, our upcoming futures, basically. And this isn't just AP kids. We are speaking on behalf of the entire freshman class, of kids in art classes, kids who just want to be somewhere in life. This is all about the education of the students. And yeah.
Hi, my name is Sophia. I'm a junior at Roosevelt High School. And the Sioux Falls School District, their mission is to educate and prepare each student to give them a world-class education. By changing the date, you're not impacting the education of elementary school kids, the middle school kids, but you are impacting high school students. And those students that are younger, they're going to eventually become high school students. And South Dakota does have less funding for education than other states, so it is really unfair to compare our scores to other ones. And by having an earlier start time, it allows us to make up for the fact that we do have less funding and allows us to have a competitive edge against the world. So by changing this date, it provides an obstacle to the district's mission to prepare and educate each student. And that's yes, you want to spend more time with your kids, but the school board's mission is education, not what you want to do with your kids. So it's kind of unfair to bring that into the question when you're going to conflict with what the school board's mission is. That's just a point I wanted to make.
And even when we talk about spending time with your kids, I would totally agree with you. The time I spend with my parents is more valuable and important to me as a person than any time I'll spend with my teachers. However, after the past 12 years of schooling I've had, I will speak on behalf of my parents in this. I think they've done a good enough job morally and ethically where even if we would have had a post-dates Labor Day, I would still be the same person I am today. I just, it wouldn't be, the increased time we would have to spend with our parents wouldn't be nearly as much because it's not just for AP students. Again, it's students involved in curriculars like I'm in choir, I'm in debate, I'm in DECA, and then like out of school activities as well. There's already so many things taking away from quality time with my parents. It's the post-Labor Day would actually only infringe on that. And you're right, we're actually speaking for all students. My sister, who's in middle school, she came out to me, she's like, please do everything you can to not let this happen because I don't want to spend the 4 years of my high school trying to have semester tests after Christmas break, trying to take AP tests way earlier than I should be. So those of you who don't have high school students are still going to be affected.
And then I also like to point out that the parents say that they care about their kids, and like obviously every parent wants the best for their children, but education is the key to success. And sure, you aren't impacting your kids' education in middle school and elementary school, but when you get to high school, you are impacting their education, and thus you're causing an obstacle to their success.
As I said, we were going to take 2 more comments. I'm here if you want to speak to me or any of the other school board members when we're done. Please feel free. No, come ahead, please. I don't want you to feel that you've been dismissed.
Thank you. I appreciate this a lot. I have ACT scores here from way back to 1990 and 91 school year, when school started after Labor Day, all the way up to our AP test or ACT scores today, and they haven't changed, even though our school year starts 3 weeks earlier. In 1990-91 school year, the ACT composite score was a 22.5, and last year it was a 22.3. And then I also have some AP test scores from around the nation, and Maryland ranks first. And right now in Maryland, there is some legislation going through to start their schools 100% in the state after Labor Day. And, you know, they're ranked first for AP tests, and they had all the testimony. They put a task force together, and they had all the testimony that same kind of things we're hearing today. And the data just doesn't bear out that a change in start date is going to change the student success rate. And I'm glad to hear you students here today. I actually have 3 AP students from my household and more to come. And I just want to say, you guys, I'd love to see give yourselves more credit that you can do awesome in these classes no matter what the start date is. You're very bright kids. And just because we would start school a little bit later doesn't mean you're going to tank on your test. You're really smart, and you can go out there and smoke those tests, just like the kids used to do when we started after Labor Day. I think you guys can do that.
Test, smoke the test.
Very good. So anyway, I have... Actually, I have one child who was the male AP scholar in 2009 for the state of South Dakota, and he is going to be voting absentee. And he says most certainly the date that school starts on does not affect the test scores. There are a lot of variables that go into student achievement, but the school start date isn't one of them. So one other thing our group wanted to make you aware of is we hear a lot about being done with testing before Christmas so the kids can have a break. And that's all fine and good, but it sounds like we're really educating these kids for the test, to pass the test, but how about some real true learning? And there's really a lot of data out there too about how taking a break, learning material, taking a break, relearning it, and then being tested can be much more beneficial to the academic achievement of students. It's called the spacing effect, and so that's something else to take into account, that over that Christmas break, I know a lot of schools have their, colleges have their application deadline of New Year's Eve, and my son was working madly trying to get his college applications done, and wouldn't have been nice if he could have worked on those and then come back and taken his semester exams after all of the rush of the holidays and college applications was behind him. So.
I have a question about the ACT testing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a listing of the dates when the ACT test is given?
I do not. I just have what the Board of Regents had on their website.
ACT tests are given multiple times throughout the year, so a student could take it in October, or they could take it in
I'm
February.
completely aware of that, but I know that we keep hearing about high stakes testing, so.
Okay, this is, thank you. I believe I want to thank everyone for your input. I want to thank everyone for being here, regardless of which side of this issue you find yourself on. I encourage you all to go to the polls on April 14th, cast your vote, make yourselves heard. I appreciate your time tonight, and thank you very much. Have a good evening.